What's going on, guys? It's your brother O.T.G. O.T.G's for Overtime Grind. Hardly seen, but I'm always around. And today I'm just going to work on a little bit of playing the drums and playing my samples at the same time. I'm going to do a little bit, probably about 5 or 10 minutes on the SP-404MKII. Then I'm going to do some on the Live II, and then I'm going to show you how you could play the finger drumming and record it right to the SP. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you check out the master classes. Masterclass for the MPC, masterclass for the Roland SP-404MKII, $7 base class, all kinds of extras and cool stuff when you buy the higher tier. So I just wanted to tap in with you guys, and just talk about music production as a whole, and why it's important to just spend time on your gear outside of making beats. Learning the basics of how things work and just having some fun like I'm doing now, practicing and playing around with a sample, taking some shortcuts and loading up templates, going through your library. All of these things are very important. A lot of you guys don't know the extent of what you could do with your MPCs or your SP-404s. You live or die by what people are saying on the internet. You live or die by other people's workflows. You live or die by methodology that other people have for how they create and make their beats. But you don't have to do that. You understand? Your music is your music. You are a producer. At the end of the day, you can hear all of these composer conversations or you're just a beat maker. If you want to think less of yourself, that's up to you. That's more of a self-esteem problem. But the reality is, once you start creating, you are producing. You're producing sounds that make a beat. You're producing sounds that mesh or don't mesh. You're producing a sound that sounds great, or you're producing a sound that sounds terrible. But you are producing. And what you're producing is your sound. What you're producing is your beats. You can't make my beats. I can't make your beats. I could emulate, but emulation is not the real thing. It's just not the real thing. And there's understand there's a big debate, especially now in the world of YouTube. Everybody thinks that everything can emulate everything, or the MPC is a sampler, so why would you have another sampler? This is all up to you, and it's kind of subjective. If you want to just work on one sampler, like I just work on the SP some days by itself. Other days I work on the MPC, the Live II by itself. Some days I work on the Verse Lab by itself. Some days I take everything and put it inside of the looper. Some days I take all of my gear and run it inside of the Force. All of these different methodologies provide different sounds, and recording sounds through different devices and applying effects and doing different things is all about whatever workflow you choose that sparks your creativity. In my comments I get a lot of hate, or I get a lot of people who just, you don't have to sample from the Live II into the MPC because I want to. Because I like to manipulate the whole sample. Maybe I would like to chop on the MPC because it's got a 7-inch screen and I can do 128 samples, and I can manipulate, edit the samples faster than I can manipulate or edit them inside of the SP-404. The SP-404 with a 16-bit linear sound that it has, and the abilities it handles and warps and handles pitch a little bit differently. It's got a different sound than the MPC. Maybe I want to take the sound of a sample that I'm working on in the SP and take it and work on it inside of the MPC. Whatever I want to do, there is no right or wrong answer. There is no right or wrong answer. A lot of people spend so much time watching YouTube videos, and it's crazy, right? Because you're watching this video, and it seems crazy being on the same platform, but there's so many different kinds of people and producers and different levels and different ways that people go about things, you know. Everybody has their picks of what they like and don't like. I personally prefer the MPC-1 out of all the MPCs. I like the Live II because of the speaker. I like the Live II because I've been mobile here the last couple weeks, going studio to studio, really working out beats and doing different things, you know what I mean? But I prefer the MPC-1. I prefer to have both of my MPC-1s and my Live II hooked up, because maybe out of my Live II, I want to play the strings, and maybe out of the MPC, I want to load the stage piano, and maybe out of my other MPC, I want to load the Fabric XL, and maybe I want to take 4 tracks, 5 tracks, 10 tracks, and load up the biggest sound that I can make, stack it and layer it, and take all of that and record it in and manipulate it into one sound. These are all different capabilities and things that I have available to do because I have multiple gear. These are all things that you could do on one piece of gear. I could take multiple samples, play them at one time, and, you know, resample it over and over again inside of the SP-404. I could layer multiple tracks inside of the MPC and then mix it down or bring it back in. Or I could utilize my know-how in multiple different pieces of gear and record from one into another, manipulate it there, move it to another space, flip, stack, and do my drums however I want to do them. The point of what I'm trying to say is you need to find creativity how you find creativity, and you also need to practice. There's a lot of different videos that will tell you don't practice. You know, every time you go in there, you should be making a full beat. Every time you go in there, you should be mixing and doing all kinds of different things with the best of them. Every time you go in there, you should be sound designing. I mean, each one of those things are based in what you're trying to do as a producer. But for me, I just like to make beats, man. I like to make music. And I like having different tools in my arsenal to make beats with. And I practice. I spend hours and hours and hours just practicing. Like right now, you know, you can see a short way of how I just practice on the SP-404. Now, I'm going to hop on the MPC, and I'm going to practice on the MPC. My audio is running from my MPC through the SP. So whenever I decide that I am happy, or if I like what I'm doing, or I don't like what I'm doing, whatever the case may be, if I want to record, I can record it right into the SP, and then I can manipulate it and, you know, start to alter the sound, slow it down, do all kinds of things. And understanding that both of these are mobile. So this is where you start to think outside of the box. You know, you should sit back some days and think about how you can use your gear in ways that can help you get the most out of your gear. For me, having 2 sets of samples, some days I might leave and I just take my SP with me. Some days I might carry the Live II. The Live II is extremely heavy. But some days I might take off and have it. But you still gotta practice, you know. So same as practicing finger drumming and practicing different drum patterns and different ways of creating on the SP. You can see how it translates over to the MPC. And you can also see different methodology. You know, part of the plus of having the MPC is I could go in now, like I'm doing now, I'm in the drum effects, and I'm turning up all of the drums to get them louder, to get them at peak loudness so they really hit. You know, you can have the whole converter conversation, but if you know how to utilize your MPC standalone, you know how to utilize your SP standalone, what you could do is get the best quality depending on, you know, it doesn't depend now. Well, it's still going to depend on how the converters sound, the conversion, which is the method of how the beats sound, or which is the definition of how the beat sounds when it's fully mixed down. So how it sounds in the DAW versus how it sounds when you fully mix it down is the conversion process. So, you know, you want to try to get the best conversion out of your gear. And the best way to do that is understanding the gain staging, understanding how sounds play together, understanding note on, note off, understanding your mute groups, understanding how you play, understanding what kind of sound you're trying to achieve with your MPC and with your beats. And a lot of that just comes from practicing, man. You know, you can see right here, I'm just practicing with my left hand. I haven't even added my right hand into the mix. We just trying different stuff and listening, you know, take a couple chops and spread them across the top 8 pads and mess with the volume of them, not the volume, but the pitch of them. You know, change the start and end points manually from the program edit screen. You know, come up with different things that I could sample, different audio, mess with the gate, mess with all kinds of different stuff. And this is how you really learn your machine. Like right now, we messing with the start point. So the samples that I had loaded already, I can now change them around and make them into something different. You know, this is all part of just understanding the pad modes and understanding your machine. I can't stress it enough. I can't stress it enough. You guys need to spend a lot of time in your machines just getting to know your machine, and you'll get to know yourself. You know, you'll get to know, like right now I'm standing. So the way I hit the pads when I'm standing versus how hard I hit the pads when I sit down. You know, you can start to play and turn full velocity off and start to have some realistic velocity playing back. You can take your stuff and record it. Like I said, you can record into your MPC and turn it into a clip. You can take that same thought process, record your clip to record a piece or whatever part you want to record to a pad, and now you got a clip over there. So, you know, the thought processes are parallel across the board. Just certain things operate a little bit easier than others, you know, and that's all subjective. That's up to me. I know some guys who say that the SP-404 is extremely hard. To me, you know, after spending about 6 or 7 months in it every single day, I got a pretty good hang of it. I don't really switch my gear out a lot, so I've been using Ableton for years. I've been using the MPC for years. You know, I teach a bunch of different students, and we do it with no video, because off the top of the head, I know everything about the MPC for the most part, and I spend a lot of time doing what I'm doing now, just practicing, stacking sounds up, going into different menus, turning knobs, really learning the gear so I could get the most out of the gear. I don't need to keep up with every update or every new piece of gear that comes out, because I got enough time, and both of these machines are stat with so much stuff inside of them that it could take years to be a master at it. So right now I'm about to record my finger drumming into my SP. We get it lined up, and once we get it situated, now I can sit here and play my own drum loops, and they're non-quantized because I'm not playing to a drum at all. So, I'm not playing to a metronome. And so whatever BPM goes in, it goes in. Whatever the speed is, the SP will pick it up. And then I can manipulate and change whatever I'm playing. And that in itself provides a lot of value to me. And, my channel is for people who are looking for value out of their machines and wanting to learn how to get technically better at their machines, straight out of the box, standalone, and just be better producers. Create music that has a direction. Create music that has a feel to it. Create music that you love. If the world doesn't love it, if the world doesn't like it, we can search and find people who do. But if you like it, then that means in your world, you're lit. And that's all that really matters, is once you understand that you're lit in your world, then all you really have to do now is just get more lit. Practice on your sounds. Practice on your playing. Practice on understanding the menus. Try different things. Try different settings. Try, bro. Try. Don't give up. Don't base your whole experience on what somebody else got going on social media or what they got going on YouTube. Take a couple of the pointers, implement it into your style of producing, and just produce, man. These are tools. They're tools when they're alone. They're tools when they're together. If you understand moving audio and how audio works, then you can connect all of your gear together and really get some fascinating, cool stuff. It doesn't mean you have to do it every time. Just because you got a lot of stuff doesn't mean you have to use it all. But it does provide options. So, I just wanted to have a basic conversation with you guys. Practice on my SP, practice on my MPC, show you guys what practice looks like from an O.T.G standpoint, and kind of just have some real producer talk with you guys. So make sure you check out the master classes. They come with lifetime updates. Make sure you check out the drum kits. Make sure you check out everything that I have for sale in my store. That's how you can support the channel. Everything is super cheap because I want you to be better. So it's not about me breaking your pockets. It's really about me contributing something to help you get better at something that we both love to do, which is create music. So hopefully you found some value out of this video. Make sure you follow me on all social media at 365 O.T.G. That's 365 O.T.G. If you subscribe to my Twitter account, I am doing letting people who are subscribed to me tag me so they could get a share of my 20 to 50 million views a month and start to be able to monetize. And this is a way that we could all work together. So make sure you leave a like, share, comment. It's your brother O.T.G, and we just talking about practicing on the MPC, practicing on the SP, and becoming a better producer.